In a small town, Litvak, a Jew from Lithuania, visits the community of a renowned rabbi, a Hasidic master, during the days of awe, the period between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The rabbi is known for his extraordinary piety, and it is said by his followers that during the early morning prayers of Slichot, the rabbi ascends to heaven. However, the skeptical Litvak, who values rationality and study over mystical tales, doubts these rumors. He mocks the rabbi's followers and says, "Do you really believe that your rabbi rises to heaven? I will investigate for myself." Determined to reveal the truth, the Litvak sneaks into the rabbi's house one night and hides under the bed. He intends to follow the rabbi early the next morning to see what really happens during these supposed mystical hours. Before dawn, the rabbi rises. But instead of going to the synagogue or entering into deep prayer, the Litvak sees the rabbi dressing in simple peasant clothes. He puts on heavy boots, grabs an axe, and takes a bundle of rope. The rabbi heads out of the house and into the woods, with the Litvak trailing behind him in astonishment. The rabbi walks deep into the forest and finds a spot when he begins chopping wood. After gathering a large amount, he ties it up and carries the bundle to the edge of the town. He approaches the house of a poor, sick widow who lives alone and knocks on the door. The woman, unable to get out of bed, calls from inside. "Who is it?" The rabbi, disguising his voice, replies, "It's Vassal, the peasant. I have brought you wood for your stove." "Oh, thank you, Vassal," says the woman, who often struggles with the cold. "But I cannot pay you. I have no money," says the widow. The rabbi, still disguised as Vassal, responds, "Don't worry about the money. This is a gift." And then enters her house, sets up the wood, lights her stove, and begins to kindle a fire. As the flame take hold, the Rebbe recites the morning prayers and the verses of Slichot. His voice blending with the crackling fire and the warmth spreading throughout the room. The Litvak, who has been watching in disbelief, realizes the profound lesson before him. The Rebbe may not literally ascend to heaven, but through his acts of compassion and kindness, he reaches heights of spiritual greatness far beyond what the Litvak had imagined. This story, far beyond, Imlo Lemala Mizeh in Hebrew, by Isaac Leib Peretz, one of the founders of modern Yiddish literature, reflects the core Hasidic belief that true righteousness is not found in cell phone ringing, is not found. True righteousness is not found in mystical practices or lofty ascents, but in everyday acts of love, humility, and kindness. By serving others and conducting our lives in an ethical way, one can ascend to heaven and far beyond in the most meaningful sense. During this period of the high holidays, our liturgy portrays two sides of God in constant dialogue. The first is justice, din, and the second is mercy, rachamim. The prayers on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur present a God who, on one hand, has the capacity for severe judgment, and on the other hand, is generous and welcoming. Din and Rachamim, justice and mercy, are God's two attributes in constant negotiation with each other. This theological model serves not only to describe God, but also to reflect on us. The functioning of society needs to be based on these two premises. We need laws as they guide our behavior and set limits on our actions. At the same time, we need to transcend law by means of ethics. Ethics help us to see the reality that exists beyond the law. In many cases, ethics are found precisely in disobedience to the law. While the law is essential for the organization of a just society, the insensitive application of the law can create great injustices. Jewish law was born out of debate. It is fascinating that not only were the laws preserved, but the debates were preserved as well. Today, we have access not only to the laws created 2,000 years ago, but also to the discussions surrounding their creation. The Mishnah in Tractate Eduyot asks, if the opinion of the majority prevailed, why must the opinion of the minority be recorded? And the Mishnah answers, because someday, when applying this ruling concretely to a certain case, a judge may find that what we rejected today will be in the future the most ethical path. The lawmakers carried such a heavy ethical responsibility that they refused to delete the opinions that had been defeated. They believed that with unpredictable sociological changes, the future might require the very opinion they had chosen to reject. In heaven, according to our theology, God determines both law and ethics. God decides which will prevail in each circumstance. God's justice, din, is in constant dialogue with God's mercy, rachamim. A Talmudic legend says that God also prays. And what God says when God is praying, according to this allegory, God prays, may my ethics prevail over my justice. Here on earth, how do we decide what is just, ethical, and what should prevail in the event of a conflict between law and ethic? What is the Jewish authority responsible for determining and updating the laws? The answer lies in how we Jews study our traditional texts, in the system of chavruta, friendship, or paired study. Judaism believes that a good understanding of texts and context is born from dialogue. A solitary reading of reality or sacred texts can lead to fanaticism, whereas community study fosters balance and a reasonable reading of our sources. It is the community that monitors decisions in Judaism. The Jewish model, centered in kehilot, in congregations, ensures that decisions are in accordance with both norms and ethics. The community embodies the role of God on earth, striving to establish a balance between din and rachamim. Decisions made in community are not guaranteed to be ethical, but collective wisdom provides the values necessary to balance justice and mercy. Dear congregants, may we engage in committed chavruta, an existence enriched by dialogue. May our debates lead to a society that balances law and ethics. May we make sacred choices that bring us closer to heaven and even far beyond. Imlo lemala mizeh. Shabbat shalom. Gmar chatima tova.